We begin this morning, though, in Cleveland, Texas, where more than 200 law enforcement officials are continuing their search for the man suspected of killing 5 people this weekend, including a 9-year-old boy.
Yeah, police say this man, 38-year-old Francisco Oropesa, is responsible for the attack. Officials believe the shooting may have been sparked by a neighbor asking him to stop firing rounds in his front yard. There were 10 people in that house when the shooting started. The FBI says all 5 people that were killed were from Honduras. During a press conference over the weekend, the local sheriff became emotional, saying his heart is with that family. Let's listen.
My heart is with this 8-year-old little boy. I don't care if he was here legally. I don't care if he was here illegally. He was in my county. 5 people died in my county, and that is where my heart is, in my county, protecting my people to the best of our ability.
Well, authorities say they have 0 leads on where Oropesa may be, adding it's possible he fled the county. There's now an $80,000 reward for any information that might lead to his arrest. NBC News correspondent Priscilla Thompson has the details.
Good morning. The FBI says that the suspect in this case, 38-year-old Francisco Oropesa, should be considered armed and dangerous. They are now offering an $80,000 reward for any information that could lead to an arrest. And officials say that there are more than 250 officers on the ground in Cleveland, Texas, scouring that neighborhood, speaking to neighbors, searching homes and cars, looking for any potential leads. And this suspect is wanted on 5 counts of murder, accused of barging into a neighbor's home late Friday night and opening fire, killing 5 people, including a 9-year-old child, after the neighbors asked him to stop shooting his AR-15 outside. And the manhunt for this suspect has been underway ever since. Police believed that they were closing in on him on Saturday as they were tracking a cell phone, and they tracked that cell phone to a wooded area where they found the phone and clothing, but no other signs of the suspect. And the dogs that were tracking him lost his scent shortly thereafter. And so now police are turning to the public, urging anyone with information to come forward and reminding people that if they believe they see the suspect, do not approach him, but call police immediately. Back to you.
Tense situation there. Priscilla, thank you.
Turning now to the severe weather that slammed much of the South and East Coast this weekend. This was the scene in Virginia Beach. I think we're going to show you in just a moment, where this tornado ripped through the Great Neck area last night. An estimated 100 homes were damaged as a result. Fortunately, there have been no injuries reported. Cleanup in the area is expected to take place throughout the day.
It was a similar scene that unfolded in Palm Beach Gardens, Florida. Seen here, Weather Service says the tornado brought wind gusts up to 100 miles per hour on Saturday. Officials say the storm threw cars. You can see them overturn trailer there, also damaged many homes in that area. And we're continuing to monitor the situation along the Mississippi River, where water levels are still rising there. The river is expected to crest later today, bringing more destruction to homes nearby. So let's get a check on our Morning News Now weather.
Yeah, as you saw just a moment ago, Michelle Grossman is here with us in studio. Hey, Michelle, good morning.
Hey there, guys. Great to see you. And yeah, we had a stormy weekend. We had a wet weekend for many of us. That Florida tornado was an EF2. The Virginia Beach one, National Weather Service will go in today to determine what level it will be. But today, good news is we're not looking at severe weather. However, we're looking at another damp day for many of us today, also Tuesday, Wednesday. We even have some winter alerts. We're going to see up to 2 feet of snow in some spots in the UP of Michigan. So let's start with those spring alerts. First, we have winter storm warnings. That is in the pink in the UP and Michigan. Also winter weather advisories. That's along the Appalachians as well. And we're also looking at some flood watches in portions of New England. We could see 2 to 3 additional inches of rain. We already had 3 to 5 in some spots. Look at this swirl. This sort of says the whole story. This is the spin that we're seeing. It's staying in place. It's moving very, very slowly. And that's why we're going to see this rain stay in place and even that higher elevation snow. So where you see this blue here, that's heavy wet snow falling throughout portions of the Great Lakes. That will continue. Then we have some heavy rainfall in spots. That's where you see the brighter colors, especially off to the northeast. But you can see even the higher elevations of the northeast. We're also looking at some rain and snow mixing in, some snow also. So this is a setup here, an area of low pressure kind of spinning over the Great Lakes, and will continue to do so. It's going to bring really gusty winds as well, up to 30 miles per hour, some heavy rain and that snow persisting. Then as we go throughout tomorrow, moving ever so slowly into the northeast. So now we're looking at some higher elevation snow In portions of the Northeast, once again, along the Appalachians, we're going to see that continuing, and we're going to see another wet day on Tuesday. Wednesday, sort of a repeat performance. So we're not going to kick this out of here until later on this week. In addition to that, it's really chilly, too. So this area of low pressure is bringing down that cold air as well. Additional rainfall, you can see those brighter colors, the reds, the yellow, the oranges. That's where we're seeing the highest amounts. So adding an additional 2 inches on top of 3 to 5 inches. That's why we do have some flood concerns. Winter alerts, we're looking at those winter storm warnings, again, up to 2 feet of snow. Can you believe that first day of May? And that's what we're talking about. That's especially where you see those brighter colors. The pink, that's equatable to 12 inches, but we could see 18 in some spots, even 24. And also the purple, that's a high amount as well. Here's that area of low pressure just ushering in that cold air from Canada. So we're looking at temperatures well below normal for this time of year, anywhere from 10 down to 20 degrees below normal. So 45 today in Milwaukee, a couple 40s too, Detroit also, 49 in Indianapolis, well below normal in Minneapolis, 9 degrees below what is typical for this time of year. At 55 into the Northeast, you need your coat this morning. It is chilly, and by tomorrow, keeping those cool temperatures in place. So we're starting out May, cold in a lot of spots. 43 in Pittsburgh tomorrow. That's 25 degrees below average. 58 in Lexington, and then we're going to start to warm things up as we head towards the later part of the week, returning to more normal conditions. Let's talk about the rivers because we're still looking at flood warnings. We're still concerned about the Mississippi River, especially in portions of Iowa, where you see these little dots here. Those are the gauges. It's sort of telling us what's happening at those gauges. So the purples and all these red colors, we're looking at the highest amounts, major flooding occurring in portions of Iowa, especially near Davenport. And that's why we do have a flood threat there. We also have a flood threat out west because we have high temperatures. So we're cold in the east, we're warm in the west, 10 to 20 degrees above normal. That's melting some snow, and we're going to see some excess runoff as we head towards today, also tomorrow. But there's that chilly start to May, and we're going to continue to see that as we go throughout the next couple of days. Back to you guys.
Oh, my goodness, so much going on across the country. So
Always.
many things, not normal temperatures, not normal weather conditions. All right, Michelle, great to see you. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
All right, now to new developments this morning in the civil rape trial against former President Donald Trump.
Yeah, Trump's lawyer filing an 18-page motion to declare a mistrial in the case. In that motion, he says that the court should grant the mistrial based upon pervasive, unfair, and prejudicial rulings by the court. Now, E. Jean Carroll is the woman who came forward in 2019 and accused Trump of raping her at a department store in the mid-90s. Trump has continued to deny these allegations.
NBC News legal analyst Danny Savalos joins us now with more on this. So, Danny, let's start with that news that Trump's lawyer has asked for a mistrial in this case. How likely is that to happen? What do we know here?
Not likely. I've read the motion. And look, I sympathize with some of the complaints. As a defense attorney, you get this feeling during a trial that a judge is against you. And you can see that this is what the defense is feeling right now, that the rulings on evidence and other kinds of questioning are all going the plaintiff's way. That may not be true, but believe me, it feels that way when you're in court. So this motion is not likely to win. More likely, it's going to be something that is a placeholder on appeal and may create an issue for appeal if this case goes for the plaintiff. But, I mean, when you think about it, they're essentially writing a motion to the judge saying, hey, judge, all of your rulings so far have been bad, wrong, terrible. What do you think the judge is going to do? Look, we know how that works. The reality is this is really a placeholder if this case ends up on appeal.
So, Danny, let's talk about what we might see this week and talk about some of the actual things we heard coming out last week in this testimony. So, E.G. Carroll, she took the stand herself. Cross-examination is going to continue. Tell us some of what we heard last week and what you're expecting here and how you think it's going for both sides.
Yeah, I think this is going exactly as expected. The cross-examination I always knew was going to be contentious. E. Jean Carroll is not a shrinking violet. She's a smart person. She's going to mix it up with someone like Joe Tacopina, who's cross-examining her. Joe Tacopina, of course, we've seen him on TV. He's got a flair. You knew this was going to be fireworks, and it has not disappointed. You know, depending on who's winning, it's hard to say. I think that is colored probably already by maybe what we've heard about the case. And this is another example of a high-profile case that it's probably difficult to seat jurors for because many jurors may have heard about this. They may have formed an opinion about it. So it's difficult. But I will tell you that when you see these kinds of fireworks in court, especially federal court, where the atmosphere is usually much more hushed and cerebral, this is an exciting thing in terms of a trial, even though the subject matter is pretty traumatic.
Yeah, absolutely. There's also some back and forth about whether or not to reveal to the jury story that E. Jean Carroll did get some financial support for this lawsuit from a Democratic donor. What do we know about that?
Yeah, that is something that I would say should be admissible, but these are all admissibility questions. For example, the judge has ruled on things like the Access Hollywood tape. That can come in. That is a really close call. That might be something you could see on appeal too if the case doesn't go the defendant's way. So these are all admissibility issues. The trial judge has considerable discretion, almost complete discretion to decide what comes in and what stays out. But again, you're seeing already a strategy here that the defense is thinking, well, we're not winning a lot of these, so let's put some things on the record so that if this doesn't go well, we at least have made a record, and that's what the appellate court looks for.
Wow, a lot more to come on this, that's for certain. Danny Savalas, thanks so much.
Thank you, Danny. Now to Washington, where over the weekend the annual White House Correspondence Dinner took place, also known affectionately as the Nerd Prom. It's traditionally a lighthearted evening capped off by remarks from the president. So for a recap, we're joined by NBC News White House correspondent Mike Memoli. Mike, good morning. First of all, you looked fabulous this weekend. It was my first time not being there, I think, in like 9 years. I couldn't go this year. So anyway, it looked so much fun. It always is a great weekend. So despite these punchlines, President Biden did take a minute where he discussed vowing to fight for Americans who are detained overseas. That was a major theme of the night. What were some of the highlights there?
Well, Savannah, my fellow nerds and I are all recovering this morning, not just from the dinner on Saturday, but really days of events around the dinner. And really, it's important to remind people watching that this is an event that's primarily, first and foremost, about celebrating the First Amendment, celebrating those who hold leaders accountable here in Washington, but also around the world. And it was important for the president to talk about some of those journalists, including Evan Gershkovich, who is currently wrongfully detained in Russia. Let's listen to part of what the president's message was.
Our message is this: journalism is not a crime. Evan and Austin should be released immediately, along with every other American held hostage or wrongfully detained abroad. But I want them and their families to know, Jill and I understand, we see them. They are not forgotten. And I promise you, I am working like hell to get them home.
And Savannah, the president met before the dinner with the family of Evan Gershkovich. He also was able to meet with Brittany Griner, of course, who he was able to secure her release. Brittany and Sherelle Griner, both in the audience. The president also referring there to Austin Tice, who has been wrongfully detained in Syria now for more than a decade. His administration, he says, is still committed to bringing him home as well.
Absolutely. I'm sure a welcome message for all of those families to get this spotlight on it. Okay, now with some of that more serious subject matter out of the way, let's talk through some of, the jokes. That is kind of the night. It's hosted by a comedian, and the president did poke fun at himself throughout his remarks as well, really focusing a lot on his age, something that, we've been talking quite a bit about in the media since we've had these polling numbers, since he's officially announced that he's running again. What were some of his best jokes? What were your favorites, Mike?
Yeah, he started out by talking about the First Amendment written by his old friend Jimmy Madison, one of our founding fathers. The president did speak for about 20 minutes, began and ended on a serious note, but a lot of those jokes in between were directed at us in the media and especially at Fox News. Here's just some of what the president had to say.
You might think I don't like Rupert Murdoch. That's simply not true. How could I dislike a guy who makes me look like Harry Styles? Call me old. I call it being seasoned.
So the president really had a chance to, as one White House official said, a little bit of therapy. He hasn't always been pleased with his press coverage. And as he began the event, he said, this is one of two great traditions in Washington, the dinner and the other, counting out me and Kamala. Kamala Harris also up there on the dais with him.
Absolutely. Anything else that stood out to you about the evening or the weekend?
Well, Savannah, I was really struck as I arrived for the dinner by the reminder that I was in that same ballroom just days earlier where the president had spoken to union workers as part of his re-election announcement day. And some of his toughest barbs were actually also at Republicans. He joked about Marjorie Taylor Greene, Ron DeSantis and his battles with Mickey Mouse, even joking about the hush money payments for the former president. But I thought, notably, as one of the big fights looming ahead, he had some really tough lines about Speaker Kevin McCarthy, talking about how he hasn't seen anything this hapless since, in terms of the Republicans' debt ceiling plan, since they took 15 ballots to elect the speaker. So some really tough barbs about what is going to be one of the big political fights here in Washington for the coming months.
Absolutely. All right, Mike, we'll talk later off the air about the after parties.
That's right.
Thanks, Mike. Have a great day.
All right, turning now overseas, where the U.S. military has evacuated hundreds of Americans. NBC News foreign correspondent Megan Fitzgerald brings us the latest on that.
The U.S. Navy arriving at the port of Sudan, helping desperate Americans flee the violence, with the second convoy guarded by American military drones undergoing the treacherous 500-mile trek from Khartoum to the port of Sudan. So far, 1,000 Americans have been rescued by the U.S. government. But at the port, chaos and confusion. Evacuees crammed into tight spaces, sleeping on the floor, hoping for temporary visas to gain safe passage to countries like Saudi Arabia. Maha Rahama and her young sisters narrowly surviving the dangerous trip.
Do you guys feel lucky to be alive?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I never thought that we would make it out of Sudan. That thought never crossed my mind because we had no help.
Help in a different form arrived. The Red Cross making it into the country to deliver much-needed supplies, the first humanitarian aid since the violence broke out 3 weeks ago. Despite a 3-day extension to a ceasefire that barely held, the violence in the capital city continuing, and the trauma of those lucky enough to make it out beginning to set in.
Everyone was so scared, everyone did not know why this happened. And now I'm here watching my family because I'm the only boy, only man watching my family.
For those left behind, the window quickly closing to escape as supplies run out and the fighting rages on. Megan Fitzgerald, NBC News.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.